Hello, and welcome to the Raising Sage Spiritual Podcast, where we delve into the transformative power of spirituality and personal growth. I'm your host, Jess, and my guest today is Meranda Squires. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Very good, and thank you for asking me to join you.
Oh, it's an honor. You came to an event that I had hosted, the Bridge, so I got to meet you there, and that was very nice I've never met you prior to that, and so I'm also looking forward to learning more about you, today. So. I know you operate the Lotus Centre, but for anyone maybe who's not familiar with you and your work and your many years of experience, perhaps you could, tell us in your own words a bit of your background. Yeah, whatever you feel called to share.
Sure. Yes, so right now I've been running the Lotus Center here in St. John's on 52 Prescott Street for the last 15, 20. I came in 2021, so that's, yeah, 25 years. And before that, when I was about 20, I ventured across the world to India and in search of a community to assist in my spiritual development. Um, and so I spent time in India with my guru, my teacher, for about 17 years, and I was 20 at the time. And before that, I was introduced to meditation through my mother, who was a meditator, and we were living at the lighthouse in Fairyland
Wow.
for I don't know. I guess I was in grade 3 to grade 9, so 6, 7 years of my childhood living in Fairyland. And so my background is living with artists who had a very alternative perspective on life. And I picked that up. And what I loved about it was that my father was, whatever the average person was doing, he kind of did a little bit differently because he's an artist. And so artists are very creative about how they live their lives. And so I picked that up and became quite creative myself. I'm a dancer by training, and then naturally took towards yoga when I was living in Toronto. And it was through the yoga in those days, it was in the early 80s. Um, Yoga was mostly in churches or, sort of rooms somewhere else, but it wasn't like there was no studios.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so it was a. I started by connecting with. I lived in Toronto after I spent time in Newfoundland, and I was born in Toronto, and we moved to Newfoundland when I was 6 or 7, and then back to Toronto for a few years, and that was where we were introduced to alternative education, my sister and I. So my sister is also quite artistic. Was a musician, and then she's moved into working with clay, and now she's got a sort of um, healthy lotion for skin care and called Eskin.
Mm.
So yeah, she's been sort of away and then following along with me. So she's also traveled to India while I was there, and my parents visited me while I was in India. So it's been a family affair, this whole,
Yeah.
artistic, spiritual journey. And
Yeah.
I'm very appreciative of both my parents and my sister for supporting me, but I also support them in their work. So it's been a beautiful um, sharing experience.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So maybe your work now, what type of like offerings do you have? Mostly yoga. I know you do a lot of retreats as well, right?
That's right. Yeah. So, yeah, yoga is one main thing, and that's definitely a door for people to come in. My style of yoga is quite different than what's out there in the world. I have something called Soma Yoga, and I've done several years of trainings for that. So there's lots of people out there now who are teaching Soma Yoga, which is more based on Feldenkrais work, somatic work,
Mm.
which is connecting with your inner body and movements that help to reconnect where there's amnesia or disconnection from the brain and the body.
Mm.
So, Soma Yoga is a great yoga for people who have difficulties or problems or new to yoga. It's very relaxing and meditative.
Nice.
I also teach another kind of yoga called Laya Yoga. And Laya Yoga, the meaning of Laya means dissolution, and ultimately to dissolve the I sense, the ego sense, into the divine presence. And so there's lots of kriyas and movements and a lot of breathing and very energetic type of yoga and challenging. And that's the two yogas, and I do a yoga teacher training in Laya Yoga, also a 300-hour. Plus, I do retreats. So in the summertime, I have 5-day retreats for anybody to do Laya Yoga at the Tree of Life on Salmon Ear Line.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So
Nice.
there's lots of stuff that I do, and that's only
Yeah.
like that's just the yoga area.
Yeah. I know we could
Yeah.
probably spend hours just on just speaking about your offerings,
Yeah.
which is amazing. What was I gonna say then? Oh, so you were also recently in Costa Rica.
I was
Um,
in Bali.
oh,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah. No
my
problem.
bad.
Yeah. It's also very warm and hot there.
You were in Bali.
Yeah. Yes. I was.
Um, And so I know while you were there, you were posting your Bali insights.
That's
So
right.
I should have known because that was on the top of my mind, but it just came out wrong. Anyways, yeah, what was that experience like? What were you kind of up to there? And
Yeah.
maybe, I know you had a lot of insights, but maybe what was like, was there like one kind of, could you sum it up or any trends or
Yeah.
anything that you feel called to share?
Yeah. Um, well, going to Bali has been a beautiful experience for me because I'm a raw food eater, and I love superfoods and organic foods and live foods and healthy. And Bali has been a strong attraction for me because of the lots of places where you can eat raw, live, vegan, um, superfoods, all that. The restaurants are everywhere, countless, countless,
Mm.
countless, and it's a big yoga community. So that's one main reason why I go there. I also go because it's warm. It's 30 degrees
Yeah,
every day. My hands and feet get all warmed up.
nice.
But there's other reasons. I go there also because I get a chance to let go of my role of a facilitator, a leader, a guide, and I get to participate in other people's retreats and courses and classes and whatnot.
Mm.
But something has been evolving while being there, and one of the things that I do here also on a retreat level is I offer the Enlightenment Intensive Retreat, which is the technique is the dyad technique, where you have two people in communication with each other in a dyad format, and one gives the other the instruction, tell me who you are. And for 5 minutes, that one speaks, and the receiver, the listener, will just only receive the communications, and there won't be any commenting or interjecting or adding or anything. So it becomes a very beautiful um, dance of receiver and giver. And as this process happens through many dyads, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and just kind of goes on, there's this cleansing process of all your false identities, and it just gets cleared out every time you communicate an idea or a concept of who you think you are or an experience of that. It just dissolves back into the space until you're just cleaning until you get down to the raw underlying reality of who we all are, and you end up just touching that true space, and that is called a direct experience. So you, after cleaning it all out, you drop down into the essence of who you are, and there will be a moment, maybe a few seconds, a minute, maybe half a day, or maybe 3 days, where you're kind of living in the, or swimming around in the truth of that reality. And so I've been offering enlightenment intensives. I offer them here regularly, um, 6 times or 7 or 8 not times a year. So sometimes they're 3.5 days, sometimes they're 8 days, and now I'm offering them for 10 days. So it's I consider the enlightenment intensive the highest work, the deepest, hardest work, the most truthful, authentic type of spiritual work where your ego is being annihilated, really. The other stuff that I offer, like the yoga and the meditation and various types of workshops and stuff, they're helpful for new people to come in and get their feet wet and start to go on the spiritual journey. And some new people are ready to jump right into the enlightenment intensive, and whereas other new people need to take their time and go through all the different doors that are available out there in the world.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I felt like the dyads would come up because I remember you telling me about them
that's
at the
right.
bridge actually. And I remember thinking when you were talking about like just letting people talk at you and not responding or adding or interjecting. And I remember like thinking that that is what I kind of do naturally, like in my day-to-day life, but people don't like it very much. Some might say I'm socially awkward or
Yeah,
like it just
you're a
makes
good
people
listener.
uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah.
But what do you think it is about? Like, what is it about that setup that kind of unlocks what you're talking about, do you think?
Yeah, right. Well, it's not that much different than, let's say, you're going through a problem or a life situation, and split up with a partner or something, and you have a really good friend, and the friend just is receiving you and openly, and they're not judging you because they love you, and they love you. They care for you. Well, it's kind of like that. So
Mm.
that's what a dyad setup is supposed to be. You could also call it like a therapist type of situation where the client goes in and speaks their problem, and over a period of time they feel better because they're able to talk and get it all out, and they weren't judged. Well, that's kind of what a dyad is, and that's why we love dyads, those who are on the path and using that as a spiritual, um, I guess, process or a spiritual technique to help them evolve more. It's a very powerful, beautiful one, because you've got the consciousness of another and their eyes and their love and their heart receiving you. In the same way, you're being trained in this process to also be a container that holds and supports others, being non-judgmental, and this love being transmitted underneath. And we're kind of learning how to see others as our own self. So there's this underlying trust and vision of oneness. I see you as I am, and the more I see myself, I see you and I as the same being. So that unfolds quite clearly on an enlightenment intensive. Mhm.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. Let's see. I've gotten us off. I
all kinds of
I
things. Yeah.
I go on tangents from time to time, but was inspired by the the diets. Let's see. You talked about your spiritual journey. Maybe were there any like major like experiences or events that kind of shaped your path? I mean, you talked about some of your childhood and things like that, but I'm sure you've had some interesting experiences.
Yeah, I could take up from that. My biggest, and like everyone's got a theme or a particular, spiritual um, issue that they came on Earth to either purify or to become free of or to work on or to dissolve. And I think mine is somewhere around authority, and because I had lots of teachers, and being a young, eager spiritual seeker, um, I I would just sort of lap up any knowledge or information or any support. And I would be a student, and I was a really good student. I just took everything and practiced it until it became totally mine, which is a good habit to have. So, but there's something about when we have a teacher, the tendency, and we're all learning this as we grow up, that we put all of ourselves into the teacher, and we believe in all of that, and then whatever the teacher does, we get affected by that. Over the years, it's been very clear for me now that I'm teacher in a similar role, um, that I needed to withdraw or kind of like learn how that the center is actually inside of me. And I am my own teacher. I am my own guide, which is, not easy to really get a handle on. Just as a spiritual seeker, because as a seeker, we're always thinking the knowledge is outside of us, and we think, well, if I go to another teacher, or if I go to another yoga class, or if I go to another meditation something, or another retreat, and then another this and another that. Our Western world is full of just going to all these different retreats and everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that each of us need to contact, um, settle into a space that's called mine. I am myself, and I am my own light, and I listen to the signals that are arising from within my own body and within my own intelligence, and I listen to that, and that guides me. But it does require a settled state to be able to pick up these subtle discernments or these subtle voices of how should I, the decisions that we make in our life. So the more quiet we are, the more meditation time we have in our life is really crucial for discerning that teacher, that inner teacher inside, because otherwise that becomes so quiet because there's so noisy on the outside, and we're listening to everything on the outside. So quiet time is really, really crucial. So, and I've been just, this is an extra thing that I'll share with you. Like my personal journey these days has been quite big on the inside for me, but probably on the outside, nobody'd ever noticed the difference. But um, I've been on a kind of my own journey of being free of the ego identity. And if anybody studies the Enneagram, the nine personalities of the Enneagram, this is just extra work that I like to study that because it's like a Bible for personalities. And it's a good complement to the enlightenment intensive retreat work that we do with dyading and exploring who we are. It's really, really good because you get to see the personality, how it acts out, and then you get to see what the pure self is that has no personality.
Mm.
And one is very dualistic and has all its behavior and patterns and all of that. That's personality, that's ego. And the other is just pure. There's no
Mm.
conditions whatsoever to that. And so you got the two to compare to, which is really, really good to work with. It's an extra tool, I call it. But using that tool, I've really, really come to the bottom of my particular personality type, and it being an achiever. And it's the common way that people think what ego is. You strive and you get somewhere, and you look glorious on the outside, and you make sure that everybody likes you and appreciates you. Well, I've got that ego. and and so it's quite humbling to realize that, oh my god, like my personality type is exactly the ego that everybody thinks is horrible ego to have. Which is like be the star and try to look better and bigger and different and special and all of that. So
Yeah.
I've been going through a very humbling process in the last several years, and something's just happened just through just the purity of my own heart to get to the bottom of this ego personality. And the ego says to me, I must be valuable in order to survive, right? So everybody's got something that their ego tells them. And recently I woke up and I found out that my ego's been lying to me. And that I'm saying it really simply, but it's taken a long time to actually just get it into exactly those words. My ego has been lying, saying that I'm not valuable and that I need to prove my value in the world. So I must be glamorous, I must be special, I must do the best, I must be the best, and I must work hard, I must strive, work hard for lots of time, just make sure that everybody is liking what I do, and if they don't like what I do, I better change how I'm doing it so that they continue to like me, so on. Everybody knows this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a really an amazing wake up to realize that my ego's been lying to me, and I've been creating this whole way of survival tactics to live in this world. And my whole world has been built by my ego.
Hmm.
And there's nothing spiritual about it at all. It's still based on ego. Ego says, I'm not good enough. Um, I have to strive to be valuable and make sure that I am. And so now, in the last little while, several months now, I've been just sort of like seeing the ego mechanism still saying that, but I don't believe it anymore. Like it's broken.
Mm.
And now it's more like, let me settle back into myself. Let me be my authentic self and operate from there. I don't need to strive. I don't need to look good. I don't care about what other people think of me. I am me, and I can't change me. And I'm not going to change me because nothing can change me because I am
Yeah.
me. It just goes on like that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, I just thought I'd just share
Yeah.
that this is like even though I'm a teacher, but really the personal work goes on in a deep way and it never ever stops. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of doing spiritual work, is that there's always more to see and unfold, because we're although our essence is one being, but on the form level, it's in constant change and formation. And there's always something more to let go of.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing. Um, when you were speaking as well, it sparked my memory. I saw that. Do you do empowerment? There was empowerment
Yes,
something on your website.
yes,
What workshops? Yes.
yes, yes.
Oh,
So the empowerment program is based on the processes that we do in mind clearing. And what
okay.
I've done is I've taken the processes that I would normally apply on a one-on-one client clearer type of situation, and I've because the processes are so powerful, we do use the dyad format for that. So um, I've created these programs where for instance, a program would be called Master Your Problems. So there's these steps that you take, and then any problem that you have in life, you'll be able to master it if you just go through the steps.
Mm.
And we do it in group situations, or you can just take it and start working on your own with it.
Oh,
That's an example. So master your problems. Uh, let's see. Now we have mm, decision making, um, building healthy boundaries, um,
nice.
freedom from anxiety, find your life purpose, empower your confidence, removing regret,
Beautiful.
dig the root of depression, inspire your intuition, past life clearing, um,
Nice.
freeing your past trauma, develop decisive power. There's lots of workshops that I do. So every now and again, I'll just put off, a series of workshops, and then people can participate. They're usually weekend things. There's 3 or 4 workshops in on a
Mm,
weekend that
nice.
you go through the whole process of clearing that particular area
Yeah,
and getting empowered.
I love it. Do you mostly work with women or do you work with children at all? Youth?
I find that my work is a little bit advanced for, children. And
Yeah.
also I need to usually I work with people who are already pretty established and
Okay.
healthy,
Yeah.
mentally
Gotcha.
and physically, because this is deeper, higher work. And,
Mhm.
I find that in society, there's lots of, help out there for the people who are on addictions or mentally unstable and that kind of thing. But I need to work with people who are already healthy but they have a spiritual deficiency. That's
Mm,
where I come in. So I'm kind of from there going up.
gotcha. Yeah, makes sense for sure. Um, in terms of your mindfulness or spiritual practices, I'm sure you have your own kind of routines. Could you maybe tell us about your daily rituals or routines, what that
Yeah.
looks like for
uh,
you?
yeah, I live a yoga lifestyle. And what is a yoga lifestyle? It's a, it's the It starts with the intention that I only want to be in high frequency. Everything I do is all about raising frequency. So I'll start my day when I wake up in the morning with a meditation practice. I'll just sit and breathe and observe and watch. I might do that for an hour or 2 hours. And then I'll do a yoga practice. And sometimes I change it up. Sometimes I'll do the yoga and then the meditation. Every day is kind of a little bit different. I also have a Kriya yoga practice, and that's a lot of breathing, movements, strengthening of certain body parts, bandhas, So there's lots of yogic terms, but so I'll add that. But another practice along with that, so that will be kind of like a morning routine. But during the day, I'm either teaching or counseling. So that's part of my practice too, is listening and receiving others, and supporting and helping. So I have karma yoga. Karma yoga is service. So there will be a service of some kind. And then I also do the dyad, the yoga communication, the dyads. So that's part of my spiritual practice is doing dyads. Whenever I can get somebody to do a dyad with me, yay.
Awesome.
It's
Yeah.
I consider it like cleaning out the garbage can kind of thing. Like,
Hmm.
so much stuff filled up, but I had, normally people have their head filled up, but they don't have a place to release and let go. So a daily cleansing of your mind is really good. And using
Yeah.
the mouth and articulating how you feel and all that is really a powerful spiritual practice.
Yeah, definitely having someone to listen as well.
Yeah, to receive that. Yeah.
Hmm. What
So
would you say is the biggest, oh, sorry. I was just gonna, what would you say is the biggest challenge, maybe that you've faced or grown through?
um, my biggest challenge. Well, there's different challenges. So I have a challenge on being being a teacher and marketing myself. Like, I mean, I artists can't market themselves. I don't think yoga teachers or spiritual teachers know how to market themselves. And the reason is because we're just so involved in our own work in helping and serving that we don't have the time to actually think about how is this going to relate to a new person coming in. So
Yeah.
I have that's always been a challenge for me. And I don't have any answers for that. I just have a lot of disillusionments, but no answers or solutions.
Delegate, maybe.
Yes,
Hire someone who can care about it, who has the
yeah,
capacity to
I
care
have to
about
pass
it.
it on to someone else. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just not
You,
mine.
yeah.
That's a
Um,
challenge on the professional level.
yeah.
Spiritually, I have other challenges, and but I did talk about that. You know, the transformation that where my ego, I
Yes.
was believing in my ego, and I just recently woke up and I realized it's telling me a lie. And if there's anything I can say about that is that everyone's got some ego telling them something that they're not,
Yeah.
and we got to wake up to that, because as soon as we wake up to what that ego is telling us, we'll be free. And that actually, when the scriptures say, you know, people wake up to freedom, like they become awake, they're free. Well, that's exactly it. You realize there's something you've been believing in that is not true, and then that is called waking up to the
Hmm.
lie, and
Yeah.
then that is actually called freedom.
Yeah. You wake up to your own power.
Yeah. So you're waking up to what's underneath the lie, which is just waiting for us to wake up and find it.
Yeah. It's very frustrating also when you wake up and do find it and then you're
That's
like,
it.
oh, look at all of that. Look what I
Yeah.
was doing, you
What was I
know?
doing? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I believed that for so long. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Then you have to have compassion for yourself.
Right, you got it. Yes. Love yourself. To love the
Yeah.
human that we are.
Yes. Yes, fun. Let me see. So you've talked about some of your offerings. Is there anything coming up maybe that you'd like to highlight that you haven't already?
Let's see. I do have an enlightenment intensive coming up in May, the long weekend. If anybody's not doing anything on that long weekend, going off to your cottage or whatever, and you want to go into the country, I am holding an enlightenment intensive on May 14th to the 18th. And that's going to be at the Tree of Life in Salmon Line. So that's coming up. I'm also offering a Himalayan Kriya um, training, and that's starting this weekend, the 25th and the 26th. But I have 3 weekends that people can join any time.
Okay.
Another one is May the 9th and 10th, and another one is May the 23rd and 24th. And Himalayan Kriya is a new style of Kriyas. There's all kinds of Kriyas, but Himalayan Kriya is specifically designed for the average householder person who's got a lot of, toxic stuff going on in their body and they just want to clean it out. So we do lion's breath and we do lots of tapping. We do lots of movements, a lot of heavy breathing. A lot of it is just like big purification actions and movements. And then once that's kind of released out, we raise the energy up and we go through the different chakras And after we move the energy through the different chakras, then we do some mudras with the fingers, we meditate, and we do some mantras. So it's a very yogic experience. Basically, at the end, you just feel like all your nadis or all your channels are cleaned out, and you have energy. Like you're focused, energized, and you don't need coffee, you don't need anything else. You just have to do these practices. So I offer those Himalayan Kriyas Tuesdays and Fridays at 5 to 6:30 in the afternoon. And then I also have some full weekend, you can call them retreats or trainings, that you can come in and have a kind of a blast or a hit of it. And then maybe it'll get you going for keeping up some practices on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. And I'll be sure to link your website and everything. Yeah. Let me see.
I have also another happening on May 1st and May 2nd and May 3rd, the first weekend in May. I have a yoga cleansing diet. So a yoga diet, which is using the three gunas, understanding how the diet is worked into through these three qualities of life,
Okay.
and also a cleansing, which is how to do the fasting and explaining sprouting and you know the process of cleaning out your body and why. So that's happening on May the 2nd, if anybody's interested in that. And that's only like a 6 hour workshop. And then I also have on the Sunday, May the 3rd, past life regression workshop.
Oh,
Some people will probably be very interested in that. And that's really a lot of fun. So I explained to the whole group what past life regression is like and the experiences and what to do. But you're also trained to lead someone into a past life. And then you also get a session where you receive one. So in that workshop, you have the full thing. So you'll walk away with an experience of past life. So lots of
exciting.
people are most welcome to join that. And that'll be here at the Lotus Center, both the
Beautiful.
cleansing yoga cleansing diet and the past life workshop.
Nice. I'm going to be in Toronto on May 3rd. Otherwise, I'd
Oh,
be very interested in the the past life regression workshop another time. Beautiful. Lots of ways people can connect and work with you. Let me see. Maybe we've talked about lots so far. Maybe before we wrap up, what maybe advice would you give to someone who is maybe just beginning their spiritual journey or maybe restarting or, finding their way back to themselves after
yeah.
life?
Happens because life comes in, right? So we get inspired. We start getting on the good bandwagon, and then something happens in life and just takes us way off. Yeah. So well, first of all, you have to love yourself and be kind. So that's really important. But yoga is a really great way to start because it starts with your physical body. And when you start working and stretching out all the energies that are stuck in your body, you breathe better and you just feel better in general. Meditation is another thing that you can start. Some people are not ready for the meditation because there's a lot of anxiety in their mind and whatnot. So I would suggest the yoga first. So it depends on where a person's at and what their needs are. But there's so many doors for the spiritual path, and the Lotus Center is really all about that. It's a lotus, right, and has all these petals. So every petal is a doorway to come into your spiritual self. So I have them; they're all there. So just anybody who is interested and wants to work with me personally, just call me up or email me. I'm available and happy to guide in some way, and I have lots of different ways that not everybody has a lot of money, and I work with people who don't have a lot of money, and I'm really happy about doing some kind of barter. We do have a barter system that we're developing now, so it will be a sort of a community barter system, but I also have direct barter. So people can barter with me, or there's payment plans. I like to be with people who are really spiritually inclined and who really do want to do the work because they love it and they're really wanting help and support in that way. So I'll support the person no matter. Sometimes I just give things free because I see they're so dedicated and so worthy of it.
Thank you so much. And let's see, any last thoughts or insights or lessons you feel called to share before we end?
Um, Never give up. Um, Truth is right around the corner. Um, we live in a world of lies, and the best tool we have is our discerning ability. So in yoga, it's called neti neti, not this, not this. So I decide to know what a lie is and feel inside your heart what truth is and keep going towards the truth and just don't feed the lies. And if you're having doubts, then just leave it there. Like, I'm not sure this or this. Leave it there, but keep breathing and following your heart. And then after a while, the more you're listening to yourself as opposed to outside people, it becomes very clear which path or which decision you need to make. And that happens through keeping the eyes closed and connecting, the yoga. So making life decisions and wondering if, because a lot of people they're on, which path should I take, right? So that's a hard one for a lot of people.
Mhm.
But it's your intense desire to be with the truth, to be with what is pure, and to know the difference between what is false and what is true, and just make that your mission in life.
Beautiful. I agree. Thank you so much. And what is maybe the best way to connect with you? You said phone or email,
Yeah,
but
email is the best. I'm
email.
I'm more readily available on email. Messenger sometimes, phone sometimes, but I never pick up my phone.
Okay.
Don't try that way.
Yeah.
So email is the best.
Okay. Perfect. I'll make sure everyone has that. Beautiful. Thank you again so
You.
much. It was so nice to
Absolutely.
chat with you. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Until next time.